I thought a good live to do would be about children writing their name for the first time. And you might want to start thinking about that because we've got lots of time at home, or because your little one is starting maybe school or some when they go back to childcare, you want them to know about how to write the name. So I thought I'd do probably too many, loads of little games and activities that you can be doing at home just to bring them on a little bit with the name. Yeah, very nice, very nice. So before we start, I've got a customer called Steph and a little girl's called Eleanor. And if you're watching, happy birthday, because Eleanor's 1 today. Can you say happy birthday to Eleanor?
Hi, Eleanor.
Happy birthday, Eleanor.
Hi.
Oh, and Jad is watching as well. Hello, Jad, our lovely little boy in our Where's the Class. Right, so we'll get started. I'm going to give you tips and games.
My name is called Marnie.
You are Marnie, aren't you? Sorry, this is Marnie. And how old are you? 3. So show 3 fingers. 3 fingers. There we go. Now, when children go into preschool or the reception class, no more of that now. No more of that now. Thank you. When they start in preschool or any childcare, you'll find that they display the children's names so that the children begin to recognise. So the first stage of getting your child to write their name is that they need to be able to just point it out and pick it out from a list. So Marnie and I had a little go before. I wrote down lots of names. You could try this if you're following along now and you've got pen and paper. Write your child's name a few times amongst a list of other names and see if they can recognise it and just point it out. That's the first stage of being able to write your name, okay, of them being able to write their name.
Have the baby.
Listen, so Marnie, what she did was she's just put a circle around the times that she saw her name. Now, let me just talk about Marnie's age. She's only 3. She does a little bit of childcare, but she's not quite ready to write a name. She recognises it a little bit. So you just adapt it for your child. You might only want them to know the initial letter. You know, they might be younger than 3. They might be older than 3. I'll just go through the activities and then you can adapt them. So Marnie, what she was doing with recognising her name was that she was recognising any that began with the letter M for Marnie. You might say because that's phonics, or some children say M. So it doesn't really matter. At this stage, school will teach them. So the first activity, get your child's name written down amongst lots of different other names. Maybe pop it there a few times and see if they can spot it. So Marnie, have a look at all these different names. This is recognising their name in a list. Where's your name? You show Mummy with your finger pointing. Yay! So she spotted it. So you can choose a stamp and stamp it if it's your name. They could stick a sticker on it. They could tick it. They could draw a circle around it. But you're going to do a butterfly. Okay? Can you spot your name again? Anywhere else? There we go. It's there again. So because the name will be displayed in the environment, you've probably got personalised things in the bedroom, or you write it on their work or whatever, they will just begin to recognise it, and that's a great start. Okay, any more? Can you see any more? Do you think so? Have a look. Is it for Marnie? Is it the M? No. That one starts with that says Millie. Have another try. Yeah, that one there. And this one here. Well done. So she just stamped next to her name. So that's the first stage. And what they do in preschool and early years environments for a self-registration is the child will walk in, and the first thing that they have to do, this is in the majority of early years childcare settings, they'll have to spot their name from a big group on the wall, and they'll take the name down and either post it in a box or put it on a different list or whatever to say that they're there. So the first thing they're going to have to do is be able to recognise their name. You could play that game at home with post-its and write their name, and loads of their friends' names, and then get them to pull their name off and say, I'm here today, and make up a little game like that. Okay. So recognising the name's the first thing. Then there's two things that go side by side with writing the name, and that is them being able to order the letters in the name and forming the letters themselves in the correct way. So there's two things that the child's juggling there throughout being, so we're asking a lot of them if they're only little. They're forming the letters correctly and they're putting the letters in the right order. It's a lot. So I'm going to do a few little activities on ordering the letters first. Okay, so here's a laminate that I've done that I'll talk a bit more about. Marnie doesn't know the order of her name yet, so she's just going to be matching the letters. Okay, if your little one's really good at ordering or is getting better at ordering, you could cover this up all together and they have to try and put it in the right order. I'll show you what I mean. Careful with that. Thank you. Okay, so in here we've got shredded paper, and I've made a little game where the letters to a name are inside here. And you have to, can you see some? Put your hand in just to give it a wiggle around and take out a letter. Now what have you got? So we have a look at the letter and then she's just going to match it on there. Whereas if your little one already knows, then they could maybe just put it where they think it goes. There we go, next one. Come on, rummage down there. Oh, brilliant! Where does that one go? There. Fantastic. And another one. Now, yesterday we lost some of these in here when we were having a little practice, didn't we? We did. We lost some. Can you see any more? Yeah, and what's that one? Marnie. So that's the first letter, isn't it? Well done. Now this one hasn't got a matching pair, so she's just popped that one on the end there. So I'm going to point out to her that this one looks the same. This one's the same. So do you think you maybe need to move one? Yeah, there we go. So just looking at the order. Do you know we have lost them again, haven't we? Whoop! Give it a shake. So shredded paper is really good for any of these, you know, finding the name. Maybe you could put their name in there and some names that aren't their name and they could pull it out. And the last one, there. Now your child might have a really long name and ordering the letters is always going to be tricky. Just start with the first few and keep at it, adding another one and adding another one. Or another way, another way you can do it is take off the end few and keep getting them to say what the end ones are, and it just gives them a bit of success. They complete the name and then take off two, and then they have to put them in the right order, and then they're getting that success of completing the name. Okay. So we're still on ordering letters. This time we're going to use pegs. I've made these little laminated tiles, and although it's not essential, it is a nice idea to just have them to keep using them separately, and then you can put them together. I've got a bit of blue tack on the back of mine, and I'm just sticking them to these pegs. Let me just move this way so we can see you. Right. And with the pegs, each one's got her name, her letters on, and then you can peg them to anything. You could do it on a washing line, or you could peg it to anything really. We're going to peg it to a unicorn that we like, aren't we? Yeah. Now, like I say, Marnie doesn't know the orders of the letters of a name yet, so I've got it displayed always so she can just copy and match in case she's only little.
Can we put this one?
Go for it. Is that the first letter of your name? Is it? Just check on here.
No.
It's not, so pop that off. And it's at the end. See how she did that? So she's noticed that she doesn't need it yet, so she put it to one side. For Marnie, what comes next? Have a look here. So always checking back, show them how to support themselves. What's next? Has she done it? Let's check. Yay, well done. What's next? There she is. So this one goes in the middle. What comes after your ah? What's this one? Good girl. Ah. Oh. There we go. So I'll just help her finish off. So pegs are a good one. You can peg it. I'll pop it in the space. So do you see you've completed your name? So you put your I there. And there we have it. A unicorn with all the pegs on. You can use anything for that. And then you can play games like taking one away. And she'll have to say which one is missing. You could mix two up and get her to decide on which one's wrong and putting them in the right order. It's not right, is it? No? And again, they can use the support or if the name written down or not. Okay. Another little ordering activity would be if you've got any blocks using, using permanent marker and getting them to build their name. So if I put these on like that, can you make it say your name? Now I've loads of ideas for this, so I'll probably write them all in a blog. I'll write a big list of all the different things you could do. I thought maybe if you scattered them around and then got them to build it up themselves, you could do things like put the letters on the names on the back of cars, just with your little tiles, stick them on the back of their cars if they're into cars, and get them to park the cars in the right order. You could mix them up and then they have to repark them in the right order, things like that. Oh look, your name isn't quite finished. What needs to go on the edge there, on the end? Oh, so you've taken the top off. There we go. Right, she's just having a little play there. Okay. Okay, thank you. Right, we're going to move on now. We're going to move on to formation. Little learners, that's what we're all about, is being able to form letters. If you think your little one maybe isn't at the stage of sitting at a tabletop and forming letters, maybe they're just not there yet, get out some big paper on the floor or some mud and sticks outside and do your letter formation really big first. So then when you start to work it down and down onto a smaller tray or piece of paper, it gets easier for them. Okay? Now, so the first thing we're going to do is I've just put only a thin layer of sand on this dinner tray. The reason I've done a thin layer is then you can see the tray underneath. Hang on a sec. See if I do this, you can see the mark made. Now, if you do it really thick, it's not as effective. You give it a little shake, don't you? And to warm them up, you could do R4 marks. You could do the straight lines for Lionel. Straight line. Oh, straight away she's done a for Marnie. Look. Well done. That's fantastic. So if you're playing along and if you're joining in, if you've got a dinner tray and something dry, like I did say, oats, sprinkle it all in now and give them a little turn. Well done, that's super. So she's starting to do some letters of a name in there. But what I'd have them do, if they're not used to that yet, is do swirls, straight lines, zigzags, and arches. So just getting them to do it with their finger, or get them to do it with a tool. You might have spoons or pens. Do you want to have a go with a tool? And just let them go mad, like they're going to want to have a good play as well first before you get down to the name writing. Go on, that's it. Right, go on, what are you going to do for us? Just have a little play. Can you show everybody that you can do swirls? Oh, she's done a swirl. Can you do arches? So go over the rainbow. Good girl, fantastic. Can you do straight lines for Lionel? Here, straight lines for Lionel. Yes, very good. And can you do zigzags for Ziggy? Now, those characters that I just referred to, if you don't come to Little Learners sessions, they are what we use to help the children begin to form letters. If you go onto our website, you can buy all Yeah, well, for Marnie has got the zigzags in it, hasn't it? So well done. So she's linking our characters to her name, which is lovely. Yeah, if you go on our website, you can get all our free writing guide with all these things in to help. You can read all about the different characters and the marks that we help with. Right, there we go. So once you start with the letters of the name, I'm obviously going to display the letter for her. You could use the pegs again and put them on the tray and get them to start doing it. Use the language like a straight line, a zigzag, up and down, and all those things to help support them. Using the finger is good, it's fine too. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. Now the next thing is just a wet tray, so we thought we'd show you a bit more messy play. Now I did say to use Gelli or Gelli Baff, but I like to use things that are already open. So this is the passata, the half of it I used for tea last night, and thought we'll use that so it's not wasted. Okay, but if you've got Gelli ready to join in with us, get it out onto the tray. Okay, while I pour this. Look, so I'm just putting a thin layer across the dinner tray. Dinner trays are so handy to have in the house. Messy play. Especially if your little one's ready to sit up at a table and do smaller work. Right, here we go, Marnie. So you can offer them a tool to work with, or they can just use their fingers. So she's got a spoon, but I've also dug out a fork from the play kitchen and you know, one of those Calpol syringes, and you can just use it to do your name. Again, I'm going to display her name and see if she can start doing some of the letters. Go on. She's doing it. Nice and spiky. So just remember the initial letter always needs to be, oh, she's eating it. The initial letter always needs to be bigger, sharper. It will always stand taller than the letters that come after it. It must be the capital. Right, come on. Let's do some letters in the messy play. Do you want to use your fingers? Here she goes. Oh, she's getting stuck in. Go on. And again, they're going to want to just play first. They're going to want to have a touch of it first before you jump in with... Oh! Before you jump in with the letters forming. I'm going to use this fork. And I'm going to go down, straight line, up. And then I'm going to do a zigzag. Yeah. Okay, are you playing along? Have you got any letters in your messy tray? Oh, that makes a good noise, doesn't it? Right, what's next? While Marnie has... Please don't eat it, will you? Don't eat it, babes. They're going to want to explore it, aren't they? While Marnie's doing that, making a right mess, I'll just show you what the next stage is then of formation. Now the reason that I made this with highlighter pen is for a reason. So if you're playing along and you've got paper and highlighter pen, just write your child's name in the highlighter pen. Maybe big if they're really small, maybe just their initial letter if they're really small. But the reason it's in highlighter pen is so that they can write over the top of it but still see it. So I would get Marnie to do this, but she's a bit messy. But there, so writing on top of the highlighter pen. And I would say overwriting is the next stage. Once you've practiced that formation lots of times, nice and big, then you get smaller and smaller, and you go on top of highlighter pen. Dot to dot used to be the thing when we were at school. I don't know if that's still useful, you know, tiny little dots, but I just like the highlighter pen. Then you've got just writing inside. I call it a maze, just writing inside, nice and big, and then getting it smaller. She'll put a pen inside there and go inside it. And then finally, just them copying the name. So just looking at the name and nothing to support them other than being able to see it. You're having a really good time there, aren't you? Copying underneath. That's why I've got this line on the bottom of my laminate there. So then once she's written it and ordered it, she can have a go at writing it underneath. That will be in time though. That will be in time. Use one of your fingers to do your letters, please. Good girl. And then last but not least, just letting them write the name. Okay, so without all these things, you might buy a whiteboard. We've got them on Little Learners UK. We've got the little whiteboards that you can hold, and just get them to do it in a nice marker or on paper and pen, and they can just really write from there. Again, I've got loads. You're loving getting messy. Laura's there. Say hi to Poppy. Hi, Poppy and Harriet. Yay! Sorry, I've lost my train of thought now. I've got absolutely loads of ideas for this. So again, like I said, I'll write it all in a blog and post it later on. And I hope it's been handy for you and useful for those first steps to writing their name, to recognise it first, and then the juggling between ordering the letters and forming the letters, do a little bit of both. And then eventually they'll be able to write the name, and school will help them with that as well. Okay, it's been really lovely to do this and show you our ideas. Helen, who does classes with me, she says to say hello. Happy birthday again to little Eleanor. And thank you all for watching. Tomorrow's class is all about, tomorrow's live is all about water play with Kirsty and Leeds. She's super messy, it's everywhere. So let's all say goodbye. And thank you for watching. See you.